Imagine you're building a shopping cart and a user wants to add an item, but you need to check if that item already exists in the shopping cart. Now imagine further writing 5 lines of code just to answer a yes or no question. That was me until I discovered one liner that did the job better. So most beginner like me write a for loop and do this like this and do this like it looks like in on the screen. So basically we have a cart here, we have variables, we have the flag variable, and we have the item to check. So we use the for loop and an if construct to determine whether the item laptop is inside the car, and eventually the answer is true. So don't get me wrong, this works, but it's way too much code for such a simple check. Hello guys, I'm Alan. I am on my path to become a more confident web developer, and along the way, I share key takeaways that brought more value to my learning so that you have them too and apply them immediately. Personally, I've been learning JavaScript for several hours. I used to always write long loops until I discover a much more simpler method. So using loops for checks is repetitive, error prone, and clutters your code. But don't worry, JavaScript gives us a built-in method called include that makes this check one line code, and by the end of this video you will know how to replace long loops with a clean modern solution. So here's the plan. What will happen is that we shall look the problem with for loops, then we shall give a try with includes, and by the end we shall take 3 real life examples so that you guys can see how this includes method is a game changer. So let's go back to our example. So here's our example, and as I explained, the output here will be true. So the includes method, as you guys can see here, here's the syntax of the include method. So here is the method. So at the beginning we have the array in which we shall do the checking, and as parameter we have search element, the element that we're searching for, and from index, the second parameter called from index, it is optional. But what it basically says is that since we're inside an array, we can basically say that start searching this item from index 1, 0, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. And what it returns, so what the include method returns is a boolean value, so either true or false. As you guys see, it does the same job like the for loop and the if construct combined together. So that being said, let us take an example. So example 1, same thing with the so let's say for example we have an e-commerce application, and here is an array of cards. So and we have a flag and so on and so forth. So basically with the for loop, as I said, let's take the alternative, let's take the example with the for loop. As you guys can see, here we shall use for off. So let's say item. So for every item in the array card, you for example check. So you check whether item is strictly equals to item to check. That's it. And if it's true, what happens is that you set from the flag variable to true. That's just it. And at the end you run it. So let's give it a try. Yes, it's true, as you guys can see. As I said, it's working, but it's way much lines of code just for a simple check. So now let's do the alternative with the include method. So with the include method, let's say we declare again a flag variable, let's say alert, and call it for example for found one, And inside it, we take the name of a array, we take our includes method, and we give in the item that we have to check for. So the item name here, it was item to check, so it was storing the variable item to check. So let me just write item to check. So let me increase this, guys, you guys can see. And let's log the result. So you'll be like, and you will see, guys, that we have the same result: true, true. So say, for example, we may say method with loop, yeah, method with include. Let's run the code again. Same result, true, true. So if maybe we want to make it look nice, we may put these things ahead. So that's just it. One line of code that does the same work as all this stuff for and if construct. So let's look at another example so you guys can better understand. So let's go to example 2. Okay, example 2. So for example 2 here, we're going to, let's say for example, we have an e-commerce that we're doing. As you guys can see, the context is that, for example, here we have countries, we are building an e-commerce app, and here we want to check whether Sweden is supported, for example, for shipping. Let me say something like that. So we still use our include method, and normally it's supposed to check here. So sorry, country to check. Yeah, Sweden. Yeah, that's it. And let's run the code. Sorry, Sweden. Sorry, no shipping in Sweden. That's just it. So normally, using the old method, you could have been using this for loop and if construct, but include saves times. The next example here is, for example, if you are building an email filtering system for your web application. Let's say, for example, it's a newsletter, sign up, news registration system, and so on and so forth. And you want, for example, to block spams. So you have your array of block emails, and you have an email to check. So an email comes in, and you want to check whether the emails belongs to exist already in this array. And to do that, it's very easy. You still use your include method, as you guys see here. And basically what it will return is either email is blocked or email is allowed. So you have to note that include method was being used with the ternary operator. So ternary operator is basically like let's say answer. So for example, we have a condition here. So here is the syntax of the ternary condition, and if it's true, you return this, and if it's false, you return this. That's just it. That's how ternary operators work. So that was all for the examples. I hope you guys really enjoy it. So personally, I'm still learning, but every small lesson that I make in my journey brings me closer to my goal. So if you want to keep growing your web development skills with me, follow along and learn. Let us learn together. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if this video helped you. It really makes a difference. Thank you.